Heart to Heart is where real stories meet real connection. Hosted by Christy Diaz, founder of Heartful Living. This podcast opens the door to honest, unfiltered conversations about life's most meaningful and sometimes messy chapters. From personal journeys of resilience and healing to experiences with love, loss, family, and finding purpose, Heart to Heart is a space for the stories that deserve to be heard. Every episode is rooted in authenticity, empathy, and the belief that when we share our stories, we remind each other we're not alone. Join the conversation because the best talks always come from the heart. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of our Heart to Heart podcast. I am back with my media naranja over here, Daniel Diaz Leyva, and my bestie, Ryan Holtzman. And we're here for a minisode to talk about how sports has changed in our city. When we were younger, guys, I remember there was a sport for every season. I feel like our kids in today's world have to focus on one sport year-round to be good at it, because if not, they won't get any playing time. Do you guys agree or disagree?
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case nowadays. I mean, growing up, Danny, we soccer, football, basketball, anything. We played year round, right? And now it's to the point where if you want your son or daughter to be on a team in middle school and through high school, you almost have to, specialize in one specific sport. And there's a lot of things that come with that, like personal training, personal private lessons, going to camps, going to tournaments. And you hope that, your kids get good enough at that specific sport to be able to be on the team. And, for us, I have Luke and Gabrielle, they're 12-year-old twins. They're doing jiu-jitsu for fun, which they love, absolutely love. No pressure. There's no, goal there. And they're also playing lacrosse. And they're playing for their team for Gulliver, and they're also playing in their own respective club team. And, the ultimate goal for Soph and I is, all right, when I went to school, my best friends were my teammates. And for me specifically, it was lacrosse. And they're my best friends to this day. And I want Gabrielle and Luke to have that same bond that I had with my friends. So in order to do that, we got to make sure that you can even make that team, right? And it's challenging. I mean, it's all about the social aspect. Sports kids are considered the cool kids of school, and I want Luke and Gabrielle to be a part of that. I want them to learn all the life lessons that come along with sports that we can dive into. But yeah, it's a challenge now. You really have to pick one and kind of go with it.
Do you agree or disagree?
No, I agree 100%. I mean, I remember when Danny started playing baseball, and I wanted to coach the baseball team in T-ball, where I saw that we showed up to the first meeting of all the coaches, and several of the teams that we were in our league, they were year-round players.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And these were 5-year-old kids.
Yeah.
Right. And I was shocked. I was like, these kids should be playing for fun. It
Sure.
should be, about sportsmanship and team building and things of that nature. In addition, and obviously when we grew up playing, you'd have rock stars and you'd have guys that couldn't put on a glove. Right?
Sure.
And everything in between. And I thought that was the benefit of it. And so, when you come in and you have kids that are playing year round and they're going to rock your kids who've never played before, that was kind of discouraging for your kids.
Yeah.
Right? So I came in just shocked. It was very jarring to me when I started this process with my kids. And so, I think it's extremely competitive now, and you have to do all of those things to be competitive in sports now.
It's also very expensive because, like you said, there's the trainer involved, there's the club fees, there's travel. Travel's huge now.
We're gone every weekend, literally every weekend. I have a wagon, I have a tent, I have 4 coolers, 5 folding chairs. I mean, it's part of our lives now, right?
Yeah.
We're lax parents.
Well, and I have to bring up the fact that you also have a 4-year-old son, and he's kind of the tag-along. Do you think it's fair for Cruz to be sitting there all weekend just watching his brother and his sister play lacrosse?
That's a good point. We've thought about it. I mean, he loves it, but he's also that kid who's kind of happy-go-lucky and goes with the flow.
Right.
But at the same time, it's kind of giving him a vision of his future too, right? And what he likes to do. So we have a little lacrosse stick that we cut down, and he, scoops up the ball on the sidelines.
That's awesome.
He cheers for his brother and his sister.
Yeah.
And he loves it. But to your point, why isn't he doing something other, than a sport? Maybe it's an art class or a camp or what have you. But he's with us 24/7.
Right. Danny, as a dad to one athlete and one that's heavily in the arts, Do you find that we are struggling on the weekends to give the kids enough time to be, in their sporting events and then having their social lives? Like, I remember when Adriana was deep in competitive soccer and we would get birthday invitations. We didn't know if we had to go to the game,
Right.
or if it was fair for her, at 6, 7, 8 years old to cancel that birthday party. What are your thoughts on that?
Look, I think, everybody handles those things differently, and, you obviously make your friendships around kind of sports and teams and things of that nature. I think we've, balanced it pretty well. And we've given our kids a little bit of space to kind of make decisions for themselves and, not really forced things on them, which I think is a good thing. But, I think Adriana is pursuing her passion. I mean, we've not been insistent on her just playing one sport. We've kind of allowed her, which is how I kind of grew up, although I played soccer and baseball intentionally and very competitively for most of my younger years until I kind of got into high school, and then I was playing more basketball and football. But, Adriana has been kind of, she even played flag football last year, right? I mean, she was exposed to different things, and she's made friends, across teams and across, schools and across clubs and things of that nature. And I think that that's worked out well for her. And the same thing with Danny on, his piano and his art and now fishing, which everybody's gotten heavy at the fishing.
All the kids want to go
What a
fishing now.
rage for fishing right now. And, I love that they're doing this because we live in Miami. We live on the water. What better place to be fishing than in our own backyard? So I'm so glad that there's a rise of fishing again. And there's nothing I love more, Ryan, than Friday after school. And this happened to us last night. We had all these bikes thrown in our front yard.
Amazing.
And when we look behind the window, everybody's in the canal fishing, which, side story, there is a crocodile in our canal right now. And I'm freaking out about it because all I see is a child getting nabbed by one. But
They'll be all right.
Of course.
They'll be all right.
We live in the Everglades. I mean,
Yeah.
there's going to be crocs and alligators.
another episode for another day. Get the crocodiles out.
To your point, Danny, it's like, Luke is now exposed by being on the Brothers United Columbus team. He would never have known those kids at Columbus and those
100%.
boys. And Gabrielle's up in Miami Shores, and she's meeting a whole group of girls that go to university school. They go to Miami Country Day or St. Thomas, and it's kind of it's opening up their circles for their future network and future friends too.
One of the things that I love that you guys did a couple years back ago, which you didn't do this year because our schedules are just so insane, was that you got season tickets to the Miami Hurricanes basketball season.
That was fun.
And it was the perfect situation because it's close enough to home where you guys were able to get to the games on a school night. You were able to get back home as opposed to having to go to the stadium, unfortunately, to watch the Heat games.
In Ryan's golf cart.
In Ryan's golf cart, they would, just cross US 1 and get there. How awesome was that?
It was great because it's almost like our schedules are so busy, our lives are so frantic and crazy with school and sports and whatever. It was kind of a break in the middle of the week. Most games were like a Wednesday or a Thursday, and we kind of got to hit pause and be together and just enjoy the moment and be like in the present with our kids and our friendship. And you see people that and it's a community school. It's a community game, and
Right.
so you see the same faces every single game, and it was fun. And you're home, you're home before bedtime. So.
Yeah.
It was the ideal scenario. I wish that everybody's schedules would lighten up a little bit to be able to partake in that again because I know our kids enjoyed it so much. But one of the reasons why we didn't do it, I mean, your twins, for example, let's talk about their schedule after school. These kids do not go to bed until what time sometimes?
Yeah, so we're Monday, Wednesday with Luke and Gabrielle. So I come home from work and I take Luke to Columbus. We leave the house at 6:30. His practice is till 8:30. He messes around with his friends playing football after lacrosse, and we're home by 9:15.
Ryan,
Right.
and that's not even having started homework.
Well, they're supposed to do their homework before practice.
Do they?
They have been. They
Okay.
have been. And actually, and same with Gabrielle. So Sophia's taking Cruz and Gabrielle to Miami Shores for her lacrosse practice. So we're going in different directions. But at the same time, it's really helped them with their discipline. I mean, twice a week I take Luke and Gabrielle to Coral Oaks to the gym and we work out. We train in the mornings.
And that's before school.
That's before school.
These kids get up to train at 5 a.m.
Oh, I
Ryan.
know.
They're up at 5:30. And by the way, they're the ones asking me. I'm not pressuring them. They want to wake up. They have, again, back to the discipline. They have their clothes laid out. They have their book bags, prepared and ready. They make sure their homework is done, and it's keeping them on a very disciplined schedule. And since we've done this with the early morning wake up and the late practices, their grades have never been better.
Really?
They had all A's and B's last quarter, more A's than B's.
Interesting.
And so I think that discipline, if we're instilling it, now, hopefully they carry that on as they grow.
I think that's a huge, thing. I grew up like that as well. I think kids thrive in a disciplined, very consistent, steady environment. It just creates, again, consistency and it manages their expectations. When
100%.
they know what their schedule is going to be like,
Yeah.
it relieves a lot of anxiety and pressure.
It does.
But when they're growing, and I would love to talk to a doctor about this, when they're growing, I know that the endocrinologist has always told me that sleeping is so important for kids when they're growing. These schedules where these kids are, and maybe not your kids per se or our kids per se, but there's, practice that goes all the way up to 10:30 at night. And we're talking about little kids. We're not talking about high schoolers. We're talking about first, second, third graders. I'll never forget Adriana's soccer club team in second or third grade wanted her at a practice till 9:30 at night. I kept thinking, she's a child. She's growing. She needs sleep. What do you guys think about that, this end of the day practice? I mean, shouldn't they be in bed by a certain time at a certain age?
Yeah, I mean, for us, the days that they don't have practice, they're usually in bed early, and we're very thoughtful of that, right?
Yeah.
So if they go to bed at 9:30 on a Monday, let's try to get them 8:15 on a Tuesday.
Right.
And try to catch up. And then obviously on the weekends, I mean, our kids are sleeping in like teenagers now.
Exactly.
So
I mean, we left our kids sleeping at home. Right now, they've got the day off from school.
Nice.
And they need that rest. And when you said that they sleep in on the weekends, it's very seldom that your kids sleep on the weekend because they're always in tournaments.
that's true. In tournament season, yeah, I mean, sometimes we have to be in Wellington for an 8:30 game,
That's crazy.
right? It's kind of bananas. But, also we stay at hotels with the other families, and it's great bonding. We have some of our greatest memories, doing that. So
Yeah.
there's pros and cons, right?
Yeah, of course.
Danny, when you were growing up, was it more that you played for the team of your school, or did you play for a club team? And has that reversed in today's world?
When I was growing up, I played baseball at South Miami Corey League. And the majority of people that I played with, all kind of we all went to a lot of the same schools, and obviously, feeder schools to, Gulliver and Palmer and Ransom and Columbus and Belen. And so, it wasn't so much the school team until you got to, like, let's say middle school or high school. It was really just the club team, right? Same thing with soccer. I played soccer at the YMCA. Like, we didn't have Pinecrest Premier, and today it's like you have a million options to kind
Right.
of pick your poison.
They're like mini pro leagues.
Yeah, but that's where we played, and so, no less competitive. A lot of the folks that I grew up playing baseball with, for instance, I have numerous friends that got drafted and played, in the minors, if not, ultimately into the pros. Same thing with soccer. Guys got pulled into club teams with, Real Madrid and Barcelona and stuff like that. And then, when I went to middle school and high school, I played both on my school team. Where we were at Carver, and at Carver I played volleyball, I ran cross country, I played soccer, I played basketball, and then when I got to Palmer, I played, football and basketball. And so that was it. I only played on the school team. And obviously different things. And again, we were competitive because we were athletic and we just kind of did it, and we did it for fun.
Yeah.
But it's completely changed. Like, I don't know today that, if I would have played the way that I played, I would never have gotten to a level of competitiveness as a basketball player or as a football player or as a baseball player had I not hired the hitting coach, hired the pitching coach, been playing 24/7. I don't think that I would have been as competitive as I was in today's environment, for sure.
I totally agree with that. Yeah.
I think it's sad that people have to get to that point just to have fun in today's world, because I'm talking from a non-athletic perspective, which would be me. My only sport is none of the above. And if I just wanted to try in today's world, try my hand at volleyball, I wouldn't even have a spot on the team to try, because I would need to line up 1,000,001 coaches, which is kind of sad for those people that did not start at 2 years old kicking the soccer ball. At what point do you see that changing, or you don't see that changing?
I don't see it changing. I see it getting more intense.
Yeah.
To be quite honest.
And what is the end goal for a lot of these people? Is it Olympics? Is it sports team? I mean, let's be honest. Who's going to go pro? A fraction of the people. Like, for example, your kids, I know you personally, so I know your kids play for fun, but is there a goal in mind for their lacrosse journey?
I don't know if they know that yet. For Soph and I, it's really just them being a part of a team, because you learn so many intangibles on a team. And I played lacrosse in middle school, high school, and college. I even played, in men's leagues until I was 40. I retired. I hung up the cleats when I was 40, and I discovered tennis, which is my new love. But it's really just them being a part of something.
Yeah.
And to your point, it's unfortunate that we have to put all this time into the private coaches, to just working with them personally, getting them to the gym, doing the tournaments, so they can make those teams to have that experience. Because if we don't do all that, there's a chance they may not make that team.
And that's
Right.
your point, right? Like, that's where I think you're doing a discredit to these kids, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that, as I had suggested, that you have kind of, when we were growing up, you had the high performers and you had the guys that were just trying this out for fun, right?
Yeah.
And everything in between. There's so many social skills and so many just team building skills that you get by being a member of the team that you're not giving exposure to an enormous amount of kids that would really benefit from learning how to do that and collaborating and whatnot. So.
Just fine motor skills alone.
That too, for sure. But look, I will say this. Maybe you're not playing football or lacrosse because you're not great, right? That you're not competitive from a team perspective. And obviously the team element is super important. So what we're talking about, but the wellness orientation is super important as well, right? So I think that today we're more and more intentional about wellness, and PE and just being active and outside. And I think everybody needs to do that at an early age so that you have that disposition, right? And so your kids seeing you play tennis and working out at Legacy and things like that, that's projecting on them, right? And they kind of have an opening to playing sports or just to being fit and inclined to wellness. Right?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I'm blessed and lucky that they want to come work out with me in the mornings, right?
Yeah.
And they're learning their bodies. Like, they're like baby giraffes, when they're trying to hop on one foot and understand how their bodies work, right? I mean, we're not doing 300-pound squats in their back.
Yeah.
But they're learning how to cut laterally, how to run sprints. They're just learning their bodies now, and hopefully they take that discipline into their lives, because fitness is a part of my life. It's a part of your life, right?
Big time.
And it's without that, I don't know where I'd be. And
Yeah.
so we want to instill that in them at a very young age.
I love that. I love that you do that. I'm always in awe that they wake up early to work out with you, because we could barely get ours to roll out of bed in the morning and make it to school on time. So
Yeah.
it shocks me that they do that, and then they have a full day of school, and then they go to practice.
Yep.
Kudos to you and Soph for instilling that in them, because I think
Thanks.
that's
Well, kudos
fabulous.
to the kids for first and
doing
foremost wanting to do it, right?
Do you see your 4-year-old going down that same path?
So Cruz will just randomly stop us in the middle of the house and give us 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, and 10 squats. And he says, look at my muscles.
That's hilarious.
How
So he
cute
sees
is
them
he?
doing it. He sees Soph and I doing it. So I think, he's well on his way.
So Soph was one of my first founding guests, if you will. Actually, she was my very first interview when I told her I wanted to start doing this. When we were building up the foundations for Heartful Living, I did a dual episode with her, which, if you're not familiar, it's Sophia Holtzman. It's 121 days in the NICU, followed by a COVID surprise, which was your 4-year-old Cruz.
Yep.
Did you ever envision this life for them when they were born as micro preemies?
Ooh, that's a lot to unpack. I mean, no. The short answer is no. I mean, we were just so happy that they got out of the hospital healthy. And, the doctors told us if they do make it out, here's a laundry list of things that could happen. I mean, blind, deaf, not being able to walk, speech, what have you. And they've surpassed all of that. And so I have a different perspective than some parents, like just seeing them out on the field, practicing with their team, or just throwing a football with their buddies, or kicking a soccer ball. It's just like, that's everything. I mean, that they're able to laugh and have fun just playing sports.
If that's
So-
not heartful living,
Oh, it's amazing.
I don't know what is.
Yes, we're very
Yeah.
blessed.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for being here today. I hope you'll come back.
Of course.
I love having this tribe here with me, and I love having a dad's perspective here every once in a while.
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys will come back. We could talk about vacation, plan a vacation,
Much needed.
a much needed vacation.
Yeah.
We could talk about anything you guys want. Just promise you'll come back.
You have my word.
Thank you all. Thank you all for listening today. Have a good one. Bye-bye.